seat. Okay, we've never done this before. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit wild, so let's do it. How y'all doing? Nick Brengle here, and as you can tell right away, something is different about today's production, and that is because what you're seeing on screen is my daily driver, my main camera, my only camera, my setup, my rig, my second love next to my wife. And everything we're filming from this point on is with the iPhone 13 mini using the Filmic Pro app. And so I guess you can get, better dynamic range. I shot in some kind of flat picture profile and color graded it. Not a whole lot to go into those details because I'm literally just using the camera on the phone. There's no lenses, there's no extra doodads or anything exciting there. I just hit record and set up the exposure the best that I can. And and of course we're recording the audio into the DR60 with the Rode NT3. And then we have a couple of NAND lights above me. I got the bigger one here diffused, and then I got one flagged off, a mini Pavo tube that's kind of just accenting that side of the camera but not flooding over into me, and then of course the stuff back there. But anyway, huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Artlist, where you can get royalty-free music, royalty sound effects, royalty-free sound effects. There's stock footage, there's presets, there's templates for Premiere, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve. And if you want to check them out and you haven't, go down there. There's a link. You get a discount. Helps me out, helps you out, and we all just keep creating. So let's get into this rig. I have been shooting with this camera for a year and a half, roughly, somewhere in there. And I've kind of just now got to the point where I love the exact setup. I sort of keep it this way all the time for the most part, unless I'm doing anything fancy. Like the top of this video, the coffee segment, of course, it was just in this cage. All of this other stuff, the rails, they weren't on there. It was just vertical, pointing down. You'll see some images that I took for that behind the scenes. And so this rig, it kind of started out with just this Tilta Cage and built it out from there. And so I pretty quickly added this Tilta V-mount plate, which actually comes in a way that it sits flat, but I just took apart the bottom piece and kind of just forced it, reattached it, drilled it in, and made it vertical so it sort of works nicer. I have my smaller Nano 2 V-mount on here right now. I also have a much bigger one, but this one lasts just as long, if not more, than the other one. I think they're the same watt hours as well, and they're like this is half the size. So not really sure about the technology there. The next piece that I added, and this came with it, the hard drive, the SSD holder that just screws in here. I think this is the only thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and always trying to figure out how you're going to manage these wires. But 9 times out of 10, it's just me talking to the camera, or in situations where I'm controlling everything here and I understand where everything is. So never had any issues with disconnecting or anything like that. Of course, I talk a lot about the follow focus system, the Nano Nucleus, and I keep my hand controller over here on the right side, and it just makes it easier for me, orientation. Even when I'm connected to my Easy Rig, it makes more sense for me to have it on that right side. Obviously, that's just personal preference, but that's what kind of entails these rails. The rail system is to have this, this rig, this Tilta Cage on there, and then be able to attach follow focus motor, the follow focus controller, and have my V-mount back here in the back. More recently, what I've changed is actually my monitor. I used to have it just going into one of these cold shoe mounts with a different mount, and that worked, but I'm trying to balance this rig out a little bit nicer. So I went ahead and used this small rig arm that had just been sitting around that I kept because it's very strong. I highly recommend these if you need to mount pretty much anything with the quarter thread. And so yeah, I've kind of put that off to the side, and it makes it a little easier when I'm doing handheld or on the easy rig to just see and also be able to balance a little bit easier within the frame, not just you know, balancing the rig, but also in frame, and not have to keep thinking if you're leveled out. Right now I have the Vespid 16 millimeter from DZO, and I just rented this. This is like I think it's fairly new, a month or two old. So the sequence at the beginning was shot with this lens, and yeah, I'm kind of testing it out like I did with the 35 millimeter. There's nothing else real fancy about this rig. There's not a lot to it. I try to keep it as simple as possible, and you know, I don't want it to be complicated. That's why I've been shooting with the Blackmagic, because the menu system and the way it all, you know, flows through from kind of conception into the camera makes sense. And it all also, this monitor, I completely forgot to mention the Portkeys. If you have a Blackmagic camera, I highly recommend these Portkey monitors, because they kind of communicate with Blackmagic. I can control every aspect of my camera through this monitor, and I've mentioned that before, that when I'm doing my typical talking head videos, that I have a much longer, like a 6-foot HDMI cable, so I can bring the monitor up close. I don't have to get near the camera, because I have, you know, I have this follow focus that is wireless. So I have my follow focus, and then I have my monitor. I can control every aspect of the camera, and it makes it much easier, because, you know, I'm on my own making these videos, and I don't have to bug my wife or somebody else to just hit the button or make sure I'm in focus. I can do all of that, you know, just from a distance, which is kind of nice. Didn't have that back in the day. And yeah, so that's really the rig. That's it. Thanks for watching. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, consider subscribing, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Maybe I missed something. Let me know if you want me to talk about something else, or who knows these days. I don't know. So yeah, go create something, and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and yeah, go check out Artlist, and go check out the links down below. All of these products are down there, and you know, if you make a purchase, it helps me out, which is always nice, in supporting fellow creators as we do. And go check out Joel Familaro's new release of his film LUTs, because they're pretty awesome, and I used them at the beginning of this video. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. iPhone 13 mini. Who knows what this looks like? I have no idea. So